walk over here.
All right.
Well, good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Great. Good. I'm Dr. John, and it's a pleasure, and I'm honored to have you as our guest today. And I want to introduce Sherry to you briefly. And Sherry is the newest member of our team, and she has a past experience in as being a chef. So we're teaching her all these different recipes, and she's excited. She's very passionate about sharing those with you today. And this is food is very important because we look at as food as your fuel supply, and then also we look at it in German homotoxicology. We look at what we call your terrain. We're always trying to analyze what's going on in your terrain of your body. What that means is what is growing in your body. We call that terrain in German homotoxicology. And so whether you have too much bacteria, too much fungus, mold, mycotoxins, what is growing in that GI tract. We're always concerned about that. So one way we can do that is by changing our gene expression. We're changing how our genes express themselves in a very healthy way. So it's kind of like this. If you have a garden, is your garden full of weeds, okay, and bacteria and fungus, okay? Or is your garden very fertile, has very good soil, so when you put the seeds in it, then it can flourish and grow very healthy fruits and vegetables. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to introduce simple gourmet recipes that we can start changing our terrain of our soil and our body to have optimized gene expression, if that makes sense. So I'll turn it over to Sherry.
Well, thank you. I'm very fortunate to be here interning with Dr. Smothers. I found out about functional medicine last spring. I started doing some research about it, had never heard about it. And then I became a patient of his. And because I'm in school at University of Memphis getting a health sciences degree, I had asked if I could intern, and so he allowed me to do that. And it's been very life-changing for my own personal experience by eating the foods and going by the protocol that he suggests. I'm very excited because I'm just going to be learning so much more. We're going to a clinical meeting in Orlando. We're going to be learning from some top physicians in the world, and it's just going to teach us more about how to utilize our food with the nutraceuticals that we have, and just our diet alone and exercise. So what we're doing here today is I'm just going to show you two very easy recipes, and believe it or not, we're going to make a butternut squash soup in the blender. so you just take some apples. And I have a small space here, so I'm just going to demonstrate. So you want to take your apple. Some people have the core that you can use, that you press down. I just find it's a little bit easier just to cut around it. So I just take, just some smaller pieces. And just put that in the blender. This is actually going to be just a cold soup.
You could turn it into a hot soup if you wanted to. If your body is cold-natured, you want to have some warmth in your body. But we want to keep it raw because we want to take the value of the enzymes in the food. When you heat the food, it destroys all the enzymes. And enzymes are like taxicabs that take those nutrients to the cells that need it the most for healing and repairing.
And you'll get a copy of the recipe. This is some butternut squash. When you find it at the store, it's kind of an orangey, pale orange color. But I found this at Whole Foods already chopped up, so it's a lot easier because squash is kind of hard to cut. Some of the pieces I just want to cut, and you can feel with a knife just how hard it can get, so you might want to just make some little small pieces. And you're supposed to measure this out. It says 100 grams, which is roughly about 3.5 ounces, and that's a pretty good serving, but I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I'm gonna do half and half. A few more little pieces in there. And so We did the onion last week, or the last class. I was telling them that.
I'm so sorry. It's me.
Uh-oh.
I usually keep it turned off, you know, because.
If you want to turn on speakerphone, we'll say hi to everybody.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Did I do that last time too?
No.
No. I've done it somewhere.
So we don't have to worry about how we cut it the last time, because we're going to actually put all of this in the blender. I'm going to cut it up just a little bit more. So I'm just rough chopping it. So you're actually just going to take a half of a red onion. And the next thing is almond milk. I don't know if y'all know this little hack, but if you take one of these and you pour it like this, it's supposed to help not spill it.
Oh, really?
I saw this somewhere. I showed it to Kelsey yesterday, and she was like, "I've never heard of that." Okay, and so we need tarragon. I found this at Whole Foods. It's I don't know what kind of spice this is, but
Let's
it's
see what you got there.
oh.
Okay. All right.
So you want to do a tablespoon. And just put that in there. So the next thing is you're going to take a half of an orange. Normally, if you have a juicer, that's great. I don't have one, so I'm just going to use my fork. And if you ever had one of these, the little planes, you can actually get some zest off of here. That just adds a little extra. And then the same half of a lime. Some limes, if you notice, they're really hard. This one, that's what I need to do. Thank you. Totally forgot I had a press. Thank you.
That's real good, isn't it?
Yes. And pumpkin seeds. We're going to put just a little bit of pumpkin seeds in here. It says 3 tablespoons. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it.
Just do it on high for a little while. A little more, a little more. There you go. That should be perfect there. Yeah, we need to check that. Let me look at it. Let's see.
Now y'all get to taste it.
Okay.
This is a jicama, and it's grown in Mexico, and it actually has a long vine that grows out of it, but you eat this part, which is the root. And I read that it can get up to 50 pounds. Can you imagine?
Sometimes
No,
they're
I
very
wouldn't be carrying
misshapen.
that around.
No, it's a fruit.
It's a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's fruit.
Very rich in B9. So how I did this, you can take a peeler, which I have one here. But to me, it's a little bit hard to do that. It's like a potato. Or I can show you how to do it a different way. I do this even with, like, if I'm doing an orange, I will cut the ends off and I will just peel it like this, and I'll just go down. It's just whatever is easiest for you, but in order to get the peeling off. And I always cut the ends off so I have a flat surface.
So it's important to not consume the same vegetables every day in your diet. It's good to have a variety, and so beets are very healthy for the gallbladder and the liver. So it's good for detoxification. It's good to have those in our diet. Gallbladder. Mhm. And so you've heard of people who have gallstones, okay? Or congested gallbladders, pain in the gallbladder. What happens is it's because that bile moving to that gallbladder is too thick, and because it's too thick, it becomes very sluggish, puts a lot of stress and inflames that gallbladder. And actually, the beets makes the bile thin. It thins the bile out, so then it decreases the inflammation of the gallbladder and it moves the bile out. You can. I've had many people come here on the way to the emergency room to have the gallbladder taken out. And we simply gave them a beet slaw, beet juice with some apples and lemon, things like that. And it worked really well.
So I'm cutting the apples just like I did on the previous recipe. And you have to make them a little small because it has to go down this little chute here. So on the food processor, this is the shredding tool. And so this will make it to where you can grate it by hand on a grater if you'd like, or you can use it this way.
Turn it up. Is it going to stir it up a bit? All right, so Tim, what you have here?
Okay, so we already have the 2 apples that have been shredded and 2 to 3 medium beets. And we're going to pretend I just did the jicama, so I'm going to add this. And it calls for 1 jicama, but that was a really large one. So I'm going to just kind of do it like this. And I'll be honest with you, I'm excited to taste this. I've never had this before. Okay, so we've got our vegetables in there. So now we're going to take, let's see, yeah, 1 squeeze of lime. But I'm just going to do a half. And then also the other half of an orange. And this just reminds me so much of fall. We have fall in the air right now, and just the squash and the apples. This is some really good olive oil. You'll have to tell about your
experience.
And we're going to do 2 tablespoons. And you can salt and pepper it for taste.
Yeah, in cardiology, one thing that happens is when you age, your arteries age with you. And what I mean by that is they lose their ability to stretch and become elastic. It's called hardening of the arteries. It's natural part of the aging process. Some people, depending upon the genetics, they tend to have oxidation in the arteries a lot sooner than others. And then one of the experiences of that is hypertension. Yeah. Accelerate aging of the arteries, hypertension. And so beets in this recipe helps provide what's called nitric oxide. It helps the body convert nitric oxide. It helps relax those arteries and keep them more elastic. It's one of the health benefits of the beets also in this recipe. And then also, olive oil is very important. You know? It keeps the arteries healthy also. You know, it's a polyunsaturated anti-inflammatory oil. And so a lot of times when they make olive oil, they'll press the bad olives, the good olives, the medium olives, everything kind of gets blended together. And then it goes on the shelf at a decent price. Okay? But you can buy olive oil where they hand pick only the pristine olives and they press those. And that's called a premium grade olive oil, which is a little bit more difficult to find, but it has an exceptional taste. So this is an example of an olive oil. It's a premium grade.
Is that cold press?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like there's a push now for avocado oil. Is
Yeah.
that better or worse than olive oil?
Just to get healthy
Same.
alternative oil. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about oils, some oils have a high heat point, and some oils do not have a high heat point. What that means is, if they do not have a high heat point, they go rancid very rapidly, and it makes it hard to liver. And so some oils you don't want to heat, like olive oil. Like a premium grade olive oil, you do not even want to put it next to the stove.
What?
Yeah, because just the heat off the stove will cause it to go rancid. It's a very fragile type of oil with heat. So we want to keep it in the cabinet, more of a cool place. So we use olive oil as not necessarily cooking, but after it's cooked, then we put olive oil in it. And so we like to use for sauteing is grapeseed oil. Has a very high heat point, very stable, very light oil. And then if you want to use a heavy oil, then we use a coconut or ghee butter. You can saute that.